Welcome back to the Controvert podcast, where we talk about modern dating. Today, we're going to be talking about gentleman game versus fuckboy game. Which one is better? And today, we have a fuckboy right here versus a supposed gentleman right here. All right, go ahead and introduce yourself. Actually, before you do that, my name is Panda. I'm your host for the Controvert podcast, and we have the guest.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sebastian. I've been doing pickup for a decade, and I've been a coach for Gallant Gentlemen for 4 to 5 years now.
Okay, so Sebastian, I just want to ask first, right? Yeah. So you say you're a gentleman, right? Gallant Gentleman. That's the dating coach business that you're part of, okay?
Yeah.
So I think that's bullshit. Like, you had 3 girlfriends at one time, right?
Okay.
So if you had 3 girlfriends at one time, how's that being a gentleman? I mean, weren't you just like, with 3 girls all at one time, they didn't know of each other? Like, how's that being a gentleman?
They knew of each other. Well, first of all, I have my own take on what it means to be a gentleman in the dating world. Okay, what it means is being considerate with boundaries. Okay, the problem with being a gentleman is that sometimes it could get confused with being a nice guy, right? Nice guys are nice with an ulterior motive. Okay. Gentlemen, they're gentlemen because they're considerate with boundaries. So what that means is, let's say I'm on a date with a girl. Being considerate is, right, all the stereotypical things a gentleman does. Open the door, pull out a chair, when you walk down the sidewalk, make sure she's on the inside of the sidewalk, not the outside of the sidewalk, right? These are all considerate things, but I don't have an ulterior motive, right? I'm just being considerate just to be considerate. But I'm also going to establish boundaries, right? So, for example, when I'm with my girlfriend, I'm going to tell her, hey, whatever you do, don't go to the clubs alone or with only girls, right? If you're going to go to the club, it's either going to be with me or with guys that I personally trust and have vetted. Right? Okay. Some girls will be, oh, you're just being insecure, or whatever it is, right? Well, too bad. That's my boundary, right? And that's a big part of being a gentleman, being considerate, but establishing boundaries that cannot be crossed, right? And you ask me, okay, well, how can you be a gentleman when you have 3 girlfriends, right? Well, number one, they all know, right? I was upfront when I first started dating them. I said, hey, I like you. I really see us having something serious together, but I'm also going to be seeing other women. Are you going to be okay with that? Right? So I'm honest with them from the jump, right? Because I'm considerate of their feelings, right? I'm not going to cheat on them. Cheating on them, I know, well, obviously that's going to be inconsiderate, right?
Well, some people will consider that cheating because, like, you're sleeping with other women at the same time.
Yeah.
So what's the fine line between cheating with other women and having like multiple girlfriends?
Honesty, right? So cheating is like backstabbing.
Got it.
Right? You're doing it behind their back. You're not letting them know. You're trying to snake them, trying to get some pussy on the side, trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Right? Not being upfront.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, this is something I can agree with you on because like there's been like a time where like back then I would have like not even back then, I would say like multiple of my girlfriends. Like whenever I have a girlfriend, I would be using dating apps, but that's just to be talking and screwing around and like trolling. I never meet these girls, right?
And
then so I tell some friends about this, and then they go like, "That's cheating," and they're like judge, jury, executioner because of that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I mean, my girlfriend knows about this stuff, so how's that cheating?
Correct. Yeah, I had it was really funny. One of my ex-girlfriends, I eventually told her, hey, I'm a pickup coach. This is what I do. And she didn't think anything of it. She's like, oh, I'm not surprised, right? Of course, right? You're that's how you got me. You're like super suave. I was like, yeah. And then this was before I knew that, I should tell the girls up front what I do. So I was dating a girl and I was flirting with other girls, but I wasn't physically touching them. I wasn't hooking up with them, nothing. And I was flirting with them. And my girl at the time, she said, why are you flirting with them? Are you out of your, like, she's like cussing me out. And I said, well, let me ask you something. A big part of why you like me is because of my charisma, right? How I talk to you, how I was suave and sweet with you, right? She's like, yeah, that's a big part of it. But what does that have to do with this? And I asked her, do you still want me to continue being that way towards you? Sweet and suave and smooth, funny, all these things. She said, yeah, of course. I said, well, I need to practice. This is how I do it, right?
That's a very snide way of like going about it.
Yeah, but I was being honest with her, right?
It's
and
being
I told her,
very honest.
I told her, I said, there's an old saying, right? If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
for sure.
I told her I told her I don't even care about any of these. I'm not gonna hook up with them. I'm not even gonna touch them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just that you gotta understand, I wasn't always this way. I was telling my girlfriend, I wasn't always this way. I was the complete opposite of everything you see now. I was not smooth at all. I was awkward, right? I was always, what do you call it? Like flubbing, right?
Yeah.
Always messing up, always choking, always stuttering.
Got it.
Right? Even sometimes on the podcast, you'll notice I pause, I stutter sometimes, right? It was much, much worse, much, much worse when I was in my 20s or late teens. So I told her I wasn't always this way, right? And that part of me that you truly enjoy, well, I got to practice. I got to practice.
Yeah.
Right? So she started understanding more, but, she was really mad at the fact that I didn't tell her up front. So I learned from that mistake. I said, okay, from now on, in all my relationships, I need to tell girls up front. Right.
So that's when you transcended into a gentleman.
Yes,
from
yes,
a fuckboy into a gentleman.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah,
saying
yeah.
a gentleman is a higher level than a fuckboy.
No, it's funny. My friend circle, they don't call me a fuckboy. They call me a fuck man. Right?
A fuck man.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. It's like, oh, you're not a fuckboy. You're a fuck man. You're a man, but you're still a fuck man. So,
wait, what?
Yeah.
So are you still a gentleman or no?
Yeah. It's just a joke. It's an inside joke. Yeah,
Okay.
we just throw jabs at each other. But yeah, like I said, I consider myself a gentleman because, right, I'm considerate with boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So,
Okay. So just like the boundaries thing, I mean, like, I think back then, like, I was considered a fuckboy because I would still like try to be honest about it.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is that a gentleman knows how to explain it much better. Like for me, I would just go like, yeah, I'm just trolling. It's just for fun. And then it would sound
doesn't
like
work.
it would sound very inconsiderate.
Yes,
and she would not be very
yeah.
convinced by it.
Yeah.
But she would still let me do it.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I can't do anything about this. Like I like this guy too much. And then there's this whole like miscommunication. So she thought that I just wanted to do it just for my own satisfaction, but it was actually I needed to do it because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So
correct.
that's what I was trying to convey, and I think fuckboys probably have a harder time trying to give out that message and getting the girl to really understand what's going on.
Right.
And I think you're really suave with that. Like you're like, hey, to be honest, I just gotta let you know that.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, then you lose it. You won't be suave, New Yorker, man.
Yeah, so I learned that right? Because women always say, oh, communication. My man has to communicate, right? A big part of communicating is also being articulate, right? You got to be able to get your point across a very specific or certain way. Not only get it across, but get it across to a point where she can really understand it.
Yeah.
Right. That's very, very difficult because women, they're very reactional to these things. They emotionally react to a lot of these things. So it's very hard to try to get through to them. Right.
Yeah.
So that's when you really have to articulate yourself.
I think that's a big factor of how you differentiate a fuckboy with a gentleman, because a fuckboy would just like say things like whatever. He just it's not like he doesn't care. He could probably just be incompetent and he's probably just loud as fuck. Because that was me back then. I mean, I would not even say that I'm really a fuckboy now. I think I've moved past that. I've learned how to communicate better, so I have way less issues with women. But back then I did have like my fair share of issues where it was like I didn't know how to communicate. I always thought that I was good at communication, but then when you come on a podcast especially, you see how much you trip up, you see how much you fuck up on like stuttering. And I'm like rewatching the video, I'm like, damn. And then you get these commenters that are like, dang, like this guy can't even talk or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell this guy is saying.
Yeah.
And dude, it's like if you think it's that easy, you should try to fucking start your own podcast.
Right,
And
right.
especially having to like look up at everything, like the cameras, the laptop, the lighting, everything. Like you have to make sure. And while you're talking, you're also thinking at the same time, what's the next topic?
Yeah.
Is everything going to be okay? I have to constantly scan the screen, making sure like the screen is okay. So I think like what differentiates is definitely the communication.
Correct.
And that's what gentlemen need, because they want women want a man to lead, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up, because I've had a lot of people ask me, well, which is better, fuckboy game or gentleman game, right? And I tell them, well, it depends. I would say fuckboy game, you get more instant gratification.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because girls they get immediately drawn to maybe not fuckboys, but men that have fuckboy tendencies, right?
Yeah.
The overconfidence, right? A lot of fuckboys, they have that air about them, right? And women confuse that overconfidence with competence, because what women are really looking for is competence, right? But they confuse that when a guy is over the top, arrogant or cocky, or just way too comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, I know a good example of this. It's like when I'm at the club, like back then.
Yeah.
I used to go clubbing a lot, and then I'd be like super high like this, and then I'd see a girl, I fuck her, and I'd be like, hey, you're pretty damn cute. And then I just like start, well, I don't go up to her straight up, but then like we start dancing.
Yeah.
Because like, I think eye contact is a very big thing.
Of course.
When I'm drunk, I'm like eye contacting her, and then I go like, I'm like dancing, and I start grabbing her hand. People say like, if like women say a lot of times, men who grab the hand like instantly out of nowhere is weird, but that's very important, because you have to look at her.
Yeah.
And then you like kind of dance with her a little bit. Then you grab her hand.
Yeah.
Or then afterwards you turn her around. You don't just like start grinding on her like an idiot. Like, where'd you come from? What the fuck is this?
Oh, okay.
So I think like back then when I was like in my fuckboy era, right, I'd be doing that, and then I just like look into her eyes, say like she's cute, and I'd be like, yeah, be like drinking, and then she's like, damn, this guy's like fucking confident as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think when I brought girls back home, like it'd be like a one night stand, and that one night stand, it didn't turn into anything. I mean, even if she started liking me, she knew I wasn't good for her.
Right.
She knew that like this guy is only in it to like have sex, and she can't take me seriously.
Yeah.
I think I had more problems than anything. Like these girls like just giving it up to me, and then I start actually liking her more as a fuckboy, and then she's just like, I can't take you serious because of like the way you present yourself. So in that sense, it's like fuckboy game is like you get short-term gratification, instant gratification, as you said, than delayed gratification. So I think also you attract like the women who are just like not as good quality, that are just trying to hook up. Yeah. You won't get like the girl that is of your dreams. You won't get the girl that you want to have as your girlfriend. If that's not what you're looking for, then be my guest.
Yeah,
being a fuckboy.
Being a fuckboy. Yeah. So when it comes to gentleman's game, it takes a little more time, because, like I said, it's outside of being what I said earlier, considerate with boundaries. You still have to be confident. Right? You still have to be confident, but also show competence. Yeah. Right? That's where a lot of men fall short. Right? Okay. So they stay being a fuckboy. Right? Yeah. Yeah. They have the confidence, but they don't have the competence. Right? That's where a lot of, like, when you go to a venue, a bar or a club, the fuckboy, you notice he might not have. Yeah, he's not that smart. He might not have a real job.
The girl knows it too.
Yeah, he might not have a real job. He might be a drug dealer, or he might be, a hustler, right? Or some type of street guy, right?
Okay, I'll say this though, like the fuckboys that I know, they attract women. I've done it too.
Oh, of course,
like,
of course they do.
I've attracted a lot of women being a fuckboy, but
of course they do.
These are low tier women. These are not like the types of women I would want to marry. Yeah. And same with them. They're like, oh, I don't want to marry them, but you're not even that competent. What the hell are you doing? Like, you're still being a fuckboy. You're not on top of your shit. You're bailing on the bros. You're bailing on businesses just to get like pussy.
Yeah.
You're not competent at all.
Yeah.
So what the hell?
Like when I think
too much.
Let me give you guys an extreme example of a competent gentleman, right? Like James Bond, super competent, super confident, super confident, right? And he's a gentleman on top of that, right? That's like a more extreme example, but that's something I can personally relate to more, because when I first started my journey of pickup, the most popular game when I first started was Fuccboi game, right?
Yeah.
Or back then it wasn't called Fuccboi game. It was called Cocky Funny Asshole.
Yeah.
Okay. And for me, I couldn't relate to that, right? Because I grew up in a household where I respect women, right? And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? So you're telling me I have to be disrespectful to women in order to get women, right? It didn't click with me, because that's not how I was brought up or how I was raised. So,
but you don't have to be disrespectful to women. It's just like you just have to be very confident.
Yeah, overconfident. Well, what I mean by disrespectful is like not take them seriously, just see them as like, smash and dash, right? So that's not the mentality I grew up with, and I couldn't relate to that. But I said, screw it, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try this Fuccboi game, right? Yeah. And that got me more and better results than me being a gentleman. This is when I first started pickup, okay, when I first started learning. But at the same time, I was 20, 21 years old. I didn't even truly understand the definition of being a gentleman, right? And today I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning how to be a better gentleman every day. So for the young men out there, I can understand why they have difficulty, right? Because I would like to believe most young men, they were raised properly, they were raised right. So that type of fuckboy ideology doesn't really click with them. And that's why I started learning gentleman's game, right? I would say it wasn't until 4 years ago that I actually started getting better and better with gentleman's game. I've been doing pickup for a decade. Okay. So yes, for the last half of my pickup lifestyle, that's when I started learning gentleman's game.
Would you agree that like a gentleman is more so a sigma and then a fuckboy is more so an alpha?
It can go either way. There are fuckboys that are sigma as well, and same thing, there are gentlemen that are alphas as well. It can go either way. I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, I asked that because like I've been trying to be like more sigma, right? Like I feel like sigmas are more so like the quiet ones. Like they're not like the rambunctious, like let's get fucked up type of things.
Yeah.
But what I come across is when I try to do that, and just like show up to the room and like be all quiet and like just try to be smooth, it doesn't really attract that much as like the guy that's like loud.
So I'm so glad you brought this up. I've always wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
So the best personality to have, because there's always arguments, alpha's the best, sigma's the best, beta's the worst, blah 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 blah. I would say the best personality to have is be as adaptable as possible to all of these personalities. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say Mike Tyson walks into the room. Okay, let's just say Mike Tyson randomly walks in the room and he goes up to me and goes, "Yo, Sebastian, you a bitch, you a punk, you a sucker, you're a weak little man. If you try to punch me, I'd fucking kill you." What am I going to do? Try to be alpha? Oh no, I'm stronger than you, Mike Tyson. No, I'm going to be like, you know what? You're absolutely right, Mike. You would totally beat me. You would totally kick my ass. But I'm kind of curious. You know what? Can you teach me how to throw a punch? Can you teach me? Can you show me something? I would really appreciate that. Because I know you were bullied when you were a little kid.
Damn.
Yeah. And through that, you were able to become a stronger, bigger man than anyone else. And you became the baddest man on the planet. Can you teach me to be like you? The same way your trainer taught you to be the man you are? Right? So people can say, oh, you're a beta. Maybe, but I got to have a chance to learn from the greatest fighter in the world, right? One of the greatest boxers of all time. Sure, I might be a beta. I don't care. Right? So it's being able to adapt and adjust, right?
Well, how does that relate to like getting like
right?
the girl?
Yeah, so same thing.
Okay, like when you're in a group of friends, like if you're Sigma,
Yeah.
and you're all quiet there,
Yeah.
you know, like the girl's not gonna give a fuck.
Exactly.
About you.
So you gotta
like, you're
adjust.
not really interesting.
Yeah.
Because like if you're a loud group of friends and then you're just like soft spoken, like my voice, right, is more soft.
Right.
But when I'm like the alpha voice, like at the club, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a totally different dynamic.
Right. Exactly. So you, like I said, you have to be able to adapt to the situation and environment. Because the problem with these guys that are way too caught up on being one particular personality, they limit themselves. Right. So for example, if I'm going to use a very a black and white example. Okay. Let's say I'm at a Ivy League private club.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to be loud and rambunctious, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm naturally a loud person, right? I know, okay, this environment, I need to adjust my personality. Maybe be a little bit more Sigma.
Okay.
Right?
So in a big group of friends, then how would you adjust your personality? You would be loud?
Depends.
Then wouldn't you look like an idiot?
Yeah. Again,
Right?
it depends on the situation, depends on the environment, right? The smart guys, the truly smart guys, they're able to change and adapt accordingly, right? So for example, if we're in a do or die situation, okay, then, okay, I know, okay, I got to be alpha. This isn't time to be beta, right? Or if I'm at the club and guys are trying to steal my girl, okay, then I got to be alpha. I can't be a beta.
Yeah.
Right? Or, oh, I'm in a group setting and all the guys are loud and obnoxious, then okay, maybe I need to be a little more Sigma, right? Be the calm, cool, suave, collected one. Not the loud.
They would just
obnoxious
think that
one.
you're really quiet, right? Because when I tried to do that, I didn't have any success. Like they're just like, this guy's quiet. And
oh, that's when you got to pull the, hey,
gotta be loud.
Yeah, let me talk to you real quick. You know, pull her aside, right? You gotta isolate her.
That works.
That's when you gotta isolate her.
You gotta know how to isolate. Okay.
Yeah. That's when you gotta isolate her. Be
Okay.
like, hey, you know what? You know, while they're doing that, me and you, let's go get drinks over there.
Yeah. That's smart. Okay.
Yeah. Or hey, come
makes sense.
come with me. I'm gonna have a smoke outside, right? You gotta finesse it. You gotta finesse it. Again, it's all about adapting to the situation and environment, right? Don't limit yourself. Even let's say you are naturally an alpha. Let's say you're naturally an alpha or naturally a Sigma, right? Don't be locked in just on that, right? You can still be whatever your primary, personality is, but also, like I said, be adaptable, be flexible, right?
Yeah.
Be able to adapt to whatever situation occurs or environment you're in. Yeah. Those are the ones that are going to succeed. So for example, maybe you guys will see this. I don't know if we're going to upload this, but I was at UCR campus. Okay. And I'm naturally a very, very high energy guy. I went up to this girl, very high energy, and she immediately became very quiet, very nervous. So I know, okay, I can't be, that dominant alpha personality, loud one. I got to tone down my energy. I got to start adjusting. I got to lower my voice. I got to start speaking slower. I got to start speaking more articulate, more intentional, right? So again, naturally, I would say I'm more of an alpha type, but I still have to be able to adapt to the situation itself.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I know like this next question that I'm about to ask, you probably already answered it, but this is something I always wanted to talk about. The question of like a bunch of Sigmas at the club. They got bottle service, right? They got bottle service and then they're just standing at the club.
I've seen that. I have seen that.
They're like,
I have seen that.
Andrew Tate status.
Man. I have seen
Where
that.
are the bitches? When are they going to come here?
Oh, no.
And they think they're just magically going to appear.
No. Again, it that might work in like a lounge, right? Like a high-end lounge, right? That's not going to work at the club. They're not, right? Girls go to the club, they want to have fun. Yeah. When they see guys go like this, that's not fun. How is that fun, right? They're going to hang out with the guys that are doing shots, dancing, going crazy, right? So again, you have to be able to adapt and adjust based on the environment and event itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that answers a lot actually.
Yeah.
So just knowing that certain scenario where it's like you have to adapt and make use of like your environment, your ambiance,
Right.
then you could really achieve that master game and still be a Sigma,
Of course.
or achieve that enlightenment of
Yeah.
being a
Chameleon,
gentleman.
like a chameleon. You want to be
Yeah.
able to adjust and adapt. Yeah.
Okay.
But to answer your initial question, which is better, a fuckboy game or gentleman game? It depends. I would say gentleman game is more sustainable long term, right? Long term. The reason why I say it's more sustainable long term, because when you start having the mindset of a gentleman, you naturally start becoming better and better and better as a person, as an individual, right? Not just in terms of morally. Actually, yeah, I can even say morally because, Panda called me out earlier. He's like, how can you be a gentleman when we have 3 girlfriends? As time went on, I realized, you know what? It's not a good idea to have 3 girlfriends, right? But yeah, I start learning and growing, right?
Yeah.
Just by having that gentleman mindset. So that's why I say gentleman is better for the long term. It also prevents a lot more drama, right?
Yeah,
Like fuckboy game, there's so much drama. You cheated on me, you did this, blah blah blah. Gentleman game, it's like when I break up with my girlfriends, it's a clean break. Like, hey,
no hard feelings.
yeah, no hard feelings. The last time I had a crazy breakup was 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 years ago. So that's pretty good. One in 3 years. That's not too bad, out of the many girlfriends I've had.
Like I would say that recently I started to switch more over to like the gentleman game.
Yeah.
Probably like the past 1 to 2 years, because I'm getting older, man.
Yeah,
we're 30.
I'll be
bro.
real. Yeah.
We're getting,
can't do fuckboy game anymore.
Plus, like once you got to a point where you've already tasted the rainbow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only had like Asian girls, right? But like, it essentially tasted like the whole Asian rainbow for me.
Yeah.
And quantity was there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm
Quantity's
kind of over this.
Yeah.
And so I think it's essential to have like gentleman game when you're trying to filter out girls now. Now that
Yeah,
you're more
that too.
selective, like you want to settle down, and you're getting old. You're like, you know what? Like, I just want like the one. That's it.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I think the game, what I've seen is that like becoming this more gentleman figure, I'm like more quiet, but I do filter out a lot more. So, it is like
definitely.
what you're looking for. If you're looking to be like the fuck boy, yeah, you will get more girls.
Right.
Yeah, you will get quantity, but are you
Yeah.
gonna get quality? Yeah. So I'm just looking right now like to only give off like my offsprings. Like, dude, like every time I shoot that shit out, it's like energy wasted, bro. Like it's like some Chidori, bro. You know how like Sasuke, he can only use the Chidori 3 times during the tuning exams?
Right.
It's kind of like that. And I'm like, bro, I got to be more selective now,
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
Yeah.
have time for that, especially as a 30-year-old. Like, I honestly would just like want that one person.
Oh, yeah.
And so
yeah.
that's when I think it's more efficient, when you think you could settle down with just one person.
Yeah.
Versus like when you're like young and you want to just like try new things.
Yeah.
But I will say that, yeah, morally, it's not really that all good,
It's not sustainable. Fuckboy game.
I did have more issues back then, but now the track record is there, because when I'm more gentleman, I'm able to, I have these situations just not because I'm playing them, but because there's certain qualities that I can't, it's like a deal breaker for me. And I can't live with it.
Yeah.
So then I move on, and when I move on, I'm able to just articulate that a lot better than before, where like before I would still want to kind of keep this girl in like my piggy bank of like women that I have and like kind of rotate.
Yeah.
But now when it's like more Sigma, more gentleman, I'm like, no, I'm going to move on to the next one and let this girl kindly know that I'm done with her.
Yeah.
And So yeah, I don't really have time for that shit, you know.
Of course, of course,
So,
of course.
but I will say that the ability to attract women
Yeah.
is a lot harder now, you know.
Oh
Like,
yeah, definitely.
like
Definitely.
back then I could choose which one I wanted, and
Yeah.
there was a lot more. But yeah, but because I have like a less quantity, the quality is definitely better. It's just, yeah, whatever. I'm beating the
It's
dead
slim
horse.
pickings. It's slim pickings, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, dude, is there anything else you want to like bring up with this gentleman versus fuckboy game?
No. I mean, regardless of where you are now with your game, I'm speaking directly to the men. Don't think of it as, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna, start learning pickup because I'm not a fuckboy, or it's because I'm not a gentleman, right? Just focus on the first step, which is just approaching, right? Forget the specifics, forget all that stuff. Just take that first initial step first and see where you land, right? Because a lot of men, I noticed, they'll come up to me with a concern like, hey, Sebastian, I'm having trouble with women because I'm not a fuckboy. I'm like, it's okay. That doesn't mean you can't be good with women. You can still be good with women, just because you don't have that fuckboy confidence.
Quantity is going to be less, but you'll have a better quality.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, either way, I just tell them, just take that first step. Take that first step. And yeah, I would say don't be scared, and you'll be able to find out what you're truly capable of when you really push yourself.
As we were talking about this, I just thought of another scenario. What about the gentlemen that act like gentlemen, but they're actually fuckboys, and they just dude, I have a couple friends like that. That's the biggest scourge to society. That's the one that gets the girl liking this guy so much, and she goes crazy because she's like, this guy's the gentleman that I really want.
No. That's called the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Yeah. Those are those are tricky. That's very, even I wouldn't be able to tell women how to have a defense against it, like a strong defense, other than, like I said, have the men in your family vet him out. But like I said, it's
you can pretend really well though. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Man, that's difficult. You're just gonna have to do some detective work, do some serious digging. Yeah, it's again, it's very hard to spot those. But then again, those are very rare. Yeah. Like those are some true apex predators. Those guys.
Those are the ones that are just like the scariest beings alive.
Yeah. They act like gentlemen, but really they're not. They're fuckboys underneath. It's so funny. I'm glad you brought this up. This girl I dated, she was from Finland. Yeah, she's a Finnish girl. I asked her, hey, I always ask my girlfriends for feedback. I said, hey, what did you find the most attractive about me? She said, you are a fuckboy on the surface. When I first met you, like right off the bat, I thought you were a fuckboy. You had fuckboy tendencies, right?
That's so much.
But deep down, you're actually a gentleman. I said, yeah, you read me right. And she's like, yeah, that's why I was so attracted to you. So,
yeah, it's like, also I got this a lot where it's like you fuck around a lot.
Yeah.
You look like you fuck around a lot, but you're like the most serious guy.
Yeah.
When when I actually got to know you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, that's how I treat my girlfriends too. It's like I look like a fuckboy, and I got this girl by being a fuckboy, but then once we got together, I become like more of a gentleman.
Yes.
But with that, like, it's like, as I said, it's hard for the girl to, or hard for your peers even to like even trust you to be like a non-fuckboy.
Yeah.
Like, they would be, if you give this like fuckboy notion all the time, then once the breakup happens, they're like, oh, did you play her? Yeah. And it's like, bitch, I treated her with so much respect.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I used to complain to Jeff, my business partner, Jeff. I said, yo, all these girls, they just want to smash. I don't understand. When they see me, they don't want a relationship with me. They see me and they just want to smash and dash. And he's like, well, yeah, it's because you give off the fuckboy image. So I was like, oh, is that what it is? They're like, yeah, you give off the fuckboy image, but you're not. You're actually a gentleman. So they take advantage of you, right? So I'm like, hold on. Women are taking advantage of me? I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. They're using me for sex. You know?
Yeah, I got used like that. I got used. Yeah. I know that feeling.
Yeah, so, which was a weird
Well,
thing
once
for
you
me.
give that fuckboy image, it's very hard to start giving that gentleman.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm trying to work on.
First impressions are super important with that.
Correct.
Super important.
Yeah, and it's, I'm still working on it because I've been told I still
same.
have a fuckboy image.
Yeah, no, same. No, I think you've been doing a lot better job.
I hope so. Yeah, I've been working on it because, you know, it was a habit built up throughout the years, because I know, having that fuckboy confidence, that draws women to you immediately. So I kind of kept that throughout the years, and, you know, even that has repercussions, right?
Yeah.
Girls, they just want a situationship with me, or they just see me as a banging bud. So it's okay. You know, I got what I deserve, right?
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching the Controvert podcast. And if you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.